David Sampson, you've been firing everybody. You say the Heat have to clean house, and this is getting, Chris, I don't know how you feel about this. I don't know how the group feels about this. It got loud from one day to the next nationally on Fire Riley.
The national stuff doesn't bother me. Heat fans need to back off, Riley. Yes. You guys are ingrates. Not like you go be a Hornets fan. Wow. All right, look, I'm not saying it's good. It's as bad as it's been in a long time, but I'm going to ride it out with the Godfather as long as he wants to do it. Yeah. And he's earned that, and I love this team. I just hate that Heat fans, it's just gross. This guy has given you so much joy, and he gives you 2 seasons in a row that are a little subpar, and you lose it with him. I'm just done with it.
Sampson, you've been firing Riley the last couple of days.
Well, I simply, it's not about firing Pat. It's about him understanding that it's time. And it's a tough thing when you've got someone like Pat Riley because he's never going to get fired by Mickey Arison. We know that is true. But at some point, you have to do a self-evaluation and say that what we're doing simply is not working. And the way we've constructed this roster is not working. And adding a third star to Bam and Hero, that is not going to be enough. And you therefore have to admit it. And I think it's time. And frankly, Spoelstra looked terrible. We talk about the fact that he acknowledged how embarrassed he was. He just, for whatever issues he's having on or off the court, he looks beaten. And many managers, this happens to them, and coaches, it happens to them. It's a really hard job. The Popoviches are really few and far between. It is time, I believe, for a fresh start in Miami and a fresh set of eyes and ears and voices. And that's not an indictment, Chris Cody, at all. It's been the greatest run you've had, dare I say, in South Florida sports.
It is an
history.
indictment. How can it not be an indictment? How is that not
because
an indictment?
All runs come to an end,
okay,
Dan.
but is that not it's an indictment. You're saying they should be fired, taking employment from them. You say their careers should end in the disgrace of you're no longer good enough to work here. What do you mean it's not an indictment?
Because all runs come to an end, and that's just a fact. And for people not to recognize that or realize that, it's like holding on to a 6th grade T-shirt in the top shelf of your closet and singing Glory Days.
David, considering how many times Riley over the 30 years here has been able to remake this team and have success, why would you believe that he can't do it here?
Because I believe that his time has passed, and that's not an ageist thought. It's actually, I don't want to spoil this. I'm not going to be irresponsible and be a journalist in this way. I will only say this, that what owner's job is at the end of the day, it's not to make fans happy. It's not to have great ballparks with great concessions. What an owner's job is to win while the value of their asset increases. That's it. And what Mickey Arison has done is both. But when one stops, which is the winning, the Heat were a 10 seed, a below 500 team. They are overmatched. Forget what you think happened in the Cavaliers series and how pissed off Poppy is. They have no path to competitiveness with this current administration and this current team. And as an owner, you've got to recognize
the path is
that.
Get Giannis.
No. Giannis himself will not make a difference for this Heat team.
What?
Who are you going to get? Wait a minute. Are you getting Giannis as a free agent?
Just
or
getting
do you have
Giannis.
to trade
you
assets?
get Giannis, you're an instant contender.
But what do you have to get rid of
what,
to get
Milwaukee? Mediocre?
You get Giannis, you're an instant contender.
Mediocre. Not good enough.
I just don't understand. What can a potential new regime apparently do to make this team set on the right path that you believe that this current regime can't do?
I'm going to tell you, Zaz, it's the ability to actually rebuild, which the Heat have never been willing to do. They've never been willing to understand that you may have to take 3 steps back and not be in the middle. Pat Riley would tell you himself, being a 10 seed or a 7 seed it's the worst place to be in any sport.
All right, this is what's happening right now, Sampson. I'm sorry, but Jeremy is stomping around in the studio saying he just wants to fire everybody and he doesn't know anything about the sport he's talking about.
I just think that deciding that firing everyone is always the solution has been proven by organization after organization after organization to not be the best thing for organizations. So if you have a front office with a proven track record of creating teams from nothing over and over and over again, the team that they had the year before they acquired Jimmy Butler was pretty terrible. The future was Justice Winslow, Josh Richardson, Derek Jones Jr., and that was it. And they turned that into Jimmy Butler. So I'm not saying that they will do that again in terms of star acquisition, but when you're in a place where you have an all-NBA center and an all-star guard who were both in their 20s, I don't think that you're at this point of total destruction when you have all of these picks laid ahead of you for the very first time in, 2 decades? Like, I think you're in the place that you would want a front office to be to move forward.
And I think your delusion is that you think that Bam and Tyler are the centerpieces of a championship team.
I have no reason to believe that those guys can't be part of a core that goes to and wins championships because they have been part of a core that has gone to multiple championships in the last 5 years alongside another elite player. They need to acquire another elite player. I'm not saying that they don't need to in order for those guys to be able to win a championship. They would say that themselves, that they need another guy to be able to win a championship. But that doesn't mean that those two players who have proven who they are, especially Bam Adebayo, can't be a centerpiece of a championship organization.
I mean, David, you want these guys fired when they've been to the finals 2 of the last 5 years. Only one other team has done that, and that's the Celtics.
I'm trying to think of the NBA coaches who have won championships who don't have jobs now. What's that stat, Jeremy? I believe that every NBA coach of a champion in the last 4 years, I think one still has the job.
I think it's
have it wrong.
Maybe. I think it's 5 out of 6.
Most of them have been fired within 3 years, like 3 of the last 5 or something like that, 4 of the last 5.
And that's after winning. The Heat.
But you're holding that up like that should be the standard? Oh, we should do that. Let's try to fire.
That's organizations failing. That's not the standard that you want. You want consistency. An organizational reputation has to be part of that, no?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, David, like they said, you're bringing that up as something supporting your argument. You're actually supporting Jeremy's argument that, like, all these teams are just chickens chasing their tails without their heads cut off. And the reality is...
have a tail?
Yeah, chickens have a tail.
Chasing it without the head or with the head?
Chicken
There it
time.
is.
Go ahead, Dan. No one asked me. Now I'm alone again.
But yeah, the point is there is a value to organizational stability, and when you know that the people doing the job are not, they're not bad at their job, right? We know that Pat Riley is good at his job.
They know how to do this.
We know Eric Spoelstra is great at his job, one of the greatest ever. Why are we going to say, well, someone's got to go? That's just such a reactionary kind of way. To me, that's kind of where the Phoenix Suns are, where it's just like, oh, it didn't work. Everyone, you get out of here and trade some more people. And all that kind of panicky is why it's not what it should be.
I don't think that anyone would say if the Heat move on from 1 or 2 of Bam, Tyler, Pat, or Eric that they're being panicky. I just don't think that would be the narrative surrounding those moves.
I would say, this is what I would say. The players is a different story. Because players, you could say this player is great and he's done a lot of things for us, but the only way for us to get better is for us to acquire someone else. So in the case of Bam and Tyler or Tyler, if Giannis is on the table, like, you can't be like, oh, but I like Tyler. You got to go because Giannis is something special, something elite, something rare, right? But when you talk about the personnel who are making decisions, I totally don't believe in just, it's not working, so it's your fault. That doesn't make sense to me, and I think a lot of teams find themselves in a lot more hot water doing that than the teams that succeed because they made
Samson, how is it not panicky to run out Riley and trade Tyler Hero? Like, you're running Riley out of the organization against his will as the punctuation on his career.
Oh, I'm not. I wouldn't say it's against his will, and that's why I wouldn't say that it would be a firing, Dan. What I said is it's an acknowledgement by the Heat, which are defined as Mickey and Pat and Nick, that it is time to go a different direction with a different voice, and I think that is what they do. And by the way, Bam Adebayo, if you look at his salary, Jeremy, I believe he has 3 years left, and it goes like 50, 51, 59 in the last 3 years of his deal. I hear that you're saying he's all NBA, and I understand there are a lot of overpaid players, but do you have him as that type of player?
I mean, the question is for you. 3 years, $150 million on Hero, 4 years, $210 million.
I mean, to me, I lock up Tyler Hero long term when I feel like the value is going to be delivering, meaning where's the salary cap going? What are the deals that are getting signed for guys that are kind of his comps? Can I get value on that? If not, I don't see a need to commit super long term because I want to remain flexible.
But David was also suggesting that Bam Adebayo's contract is not worth it now at $50 million.
No, Bam is absolutely worth it. There's a market for Bam. The reason you don't trade Bam is not because no one wants to give up anything for him. It's because whatever you get back has to be good enough to continue or propagate the organization.
The only way you do that is for something like Giannis.
So yeah,
that's
why I say
it.
So if Giannis comes available, there's no part of me that says, well not Bam. Look, no, Bam's got to go if that's what gets it done because he is of that level. But
who is that voice when you do that? Like, who is the impersonation?
That's the emotional person. I'm like, but I like my favorite player. I don't want to give him up.
Okay.
Why is he got to go? Can't we get Giannis and not give up Tyler and Bam?
It's Jeremy.
It's a good question, Zaz. It is.
Where are you as the Heat, though, if you replace Giannis with Bam? You replace Bam with Giannis. You're incremental between
better.
Bam and Giannis.
No, you're better.
Infinitesimally better.
You're better.
Right.
Well, infinitesimal.
Infinitely
That's small.
Infinitely better.
That's small.
Sorry.
You did that wrong.
Dan,
Yes, I
don't
did.
worry about that. He's cooking. Let him do it.
Infinitely better. I'm going to tell you why, David, because there's two things. Number one is the simple one that we all recognize. Giannis is a billion times better than Bam. A billion times better, right? And that's not a knock on Bam. That is respect to
That
one
is
of
a
the
knock.
great.
That is a
It's
knock.
not a knock.
Feels a
It's
little
not a knock.
A billion times.
A billion
is a
times.
knock. It's a
Dan,
knock.
would you call Shaq a wealthy individual? Would you call Shaq?
Yes.
Okay. Is Bill Gates not a billion times richer than Shaq?
Yeah, but that's
Not
actual.
a billion times, no.
Wow. What?
Like, you could have said twice as good as Bam. You went a billion.
He's a billion times better.
right.
He's a billion times better. And that's not a knock on Bam.
It
Bam.
is a knock on. Bam.
Jeremy called Giannis the second best power forward ever before the show today.
Well, that's wrong.
Yeah, he might be. No?
So let's not get sidetracked. Okay, so once we start with that, all right, automatically you're better just because you have first of all, you have a player that commands the respect of the opponents at all times in a way that right now the Heat don't, right? Number two, though, and I know where David's going to go, is like, well, if he's so great, why is Milwaukee where they are? That's a great question. But the answer there is because Milwaukee's front office and Milwaukee's coaching is not as good as Miami's. Miami can find the supporting cast people. This is what I always
Like, you
to say.
see those guys on the floor with Giannis last night?
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you right now, David. There's. I used to always say this: the easy part is the hard part, and the hard part is the easy part. The easy part is identifying the stars. He's great. Giannis is great. Okay, we can all see that. But the hard part is there's only like 3 or 4 of those guys. How do you get them? It's so rare. Then the hard part is the easy part. Which is
What?
Wait,
is
The hard
what?
part's the easy part?
What?
Easy is hard,
hard
let
is
him.
easy.
Yeah,
right?
let him
so,
go. Come on.
So the
He's
flip
cooking.
side of that is right where you say, well, we just got to get the right supporting cast. Well, that should be easy, right? There are millions of these guys everywhere. All these run-of-the-mill basketball players who end up getting mid-level deals and all that. There's so much more of them than there are of the Giannis's, right? Yes, you're right. It's easy. They're everywhere, but it's not because you actually have to do the work to identify, to develop, to give them chances in the right moments, to give them in the right situations, and then you get the right supporting cast. Miami is incredible at that.
They did it around Jimmy Butler, and while he's not billions times better than Jimmy Butler, he's also a good deal better than Jimmy Butler.
And Dan, they've done it throughout the history of this organization. Ike Austin, Vashawn Leonard, right?
All right.
These are guys.
Billy is so done with all of us.
I'm
right
just saying,
now.
like,
Billy is so done with
the-
everyone
the-
here. He's
No,
in his
the
phone.
org-
Don't say no.
Well,
You're-
because Jordan Hudson apparently, according to The Athletic, was to blame for Hard Knocks falling apart at North Carolina.
Billy had no interest in you guys talking about Pat Riley and all the players he's going to get.
No, I
next
got
season.
it. Pat Riley's the greatest of all time. He's never going to leave his job. We got it.
No,
And
but-
the Heat are just always
Got
going to
it.
be a 7
And
seed.
and the Heat are always going to get Giannis. You're already doing that after what happened Sunday.
Well, they are going to get.
That's the hard
Yeah.
part. The easy part is saying Giannis is great. The hard part is getting him.
And the easy part is the hard part. The hard part's the easy part, Dan. Come on. I got it. I'm here.
I do think there's an intriguing conversation to be had around what it requires to get Giannis if he is available. Because
Oh, sorry. Okay. David, good talking to you.